Hi guys, this is Carol. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting update on our IVF journey that I can't wait to share with you guys. In my last video I shared that as a result of our first retrieval with Cornell, we were able to get 2 day 6 embryos, which we were thrilled about, given that in the past we had no embryos to show for after we did 2 rounds of stimulation over at Columbia. And at the end of that video, I shared that we were considering whether we should do another round of stimulation and a subsequent retrieval, or if we would just try to implant one of our day 6 embryos. And so shortly after that video, we decided to just go for it and do another round of stimulation. And that was one of the best decisions that we've made to date, I think, because the results were incredible. And granted, incredible for me, but once you hear the numbers, you may think, well, that's okay. But personally, it was the results that made all the difference for us. And so we decided to follow the same protocol as the first cycle, which was an antagonist protocol with the omnitrope added to it. And the omnitrope is the human growth hormones. And I stimmed pretty much the same amount of time as the last cycle, so roughly about 10 days. And so my retrieval was in early February, like end of January, early February. And as a result of that retrieval, they were able to retrieve 7 eggs, 5 of which were mature. And of those 5, 4 fertilized normally. And of those 4, all 4 grew to blastocyst. And the best part of that was that 2 of those 4 were day 5 blasts, and the other 2 were day 6s. Once they grew to blastocyst, they were sampled or biopsied and sent to RGI for genetic testing. And we later learned that 3 out of the 4 were deemed to be genetically cleared, which is amazing. And the best part of that was that 2 out of the 3 were actually the day 5 blasts that we had. So to me, that was the best outcome that we could have hoped for, given how many, embryos grew to blastocyst. And so we were very happy about that. So we met with the doctor and we talked through like percentages, and he told us that day 5 blastocysts have the highest likelihood of succeeding, both from an implantation as well as live birth perspective. So he gave us roughly about a 60 to 65% success rate, which is amazing. All in all, as a result of our 2 retrievals at Cornell, we ended up with 5 blastocysts that were genetically cleared. 2 of them day 5s, and then the other 3 were day 6s. So that is just amazing given where we started out with Columbia and doing a dual stim protocol there, having 2 retrievals and having no embryos to show for. So the recommendation I'll give anyone is, if you're not happy with your clinic and you don't think you're getting any results, sometimes it's not you, it's a matter of protocol, it's a matter of labs, it's a matter of doctor. There's so many different elements and components of this process that I don't think you should feel that it's 100% you and your body and you can't produce something, because my case or my example clearly shows that by switching to another lab and of course making other changes, which I can make a separate video about, that the outcome can be different. So once we received the genetic results and we were thrilled with what we got, and we decided that we were not going to do another round of stims or any more retrievals like that, we started to talk about what a transfer would look like and what I would need to do to get there. So I was ordered to do a couple of exams, both from an IVF perspective as well as from a general health perspective. So I ended up doing an exam that's abbreviated HSG, because the name is very long and I'm just gonna butcher how to say it. That test is basically an X-ray where they inject some dye into your uterine cavity and also your fallopian tubes, I believe, just to check that everything there looks good. And then the other test that I had to do was called a sounding, as well as a mock transfer. So the sounding is an ultrasound just to check that your uterus is normal and healthy. And then the mock transfer aspect of it is where they insert a catheter in there to measure how long the catheter has to be to transfer the embryo. And they were, I guess, uncomfortable tests, but very much, I think, recommended in order to prevent any potential, challenges after the transfer. So you want to make sure you're starting off already in a kind of baseline level where you don't have any problems that can be addressed beforehand. And so I was more than willing and actually preferred to do all of this to make sure everything runs smoothly. Not to say that they were not painful, because the mock transfer actually was the more painful of the exams, because the catheter touches your uterus, and they want to make sure that it's not too long where, I guess, the embryo is not placed in the correct position. But in the grand scheme of things, it was fine. It felt uncomfortable, but I survived. And so next is to just monitor and kind of see where I'm at in my cycle, because we're going to do a natural transfer, meaning that I'm not gonna take any hormones or any medications to time my cycle, given that everything else is pretty normal and healthy. The doctor just advised to try to do a natural cycle. So lots of monitoring, checking blood work, checking like hormone levels and all of that to pinpoint exactly the best time to do the transfer. So that's where we are at now. Again, so happy, so thrilled that we finally got some options and that our odds are looking really, really good. And next time I post on here, hopefully it will be with an update on whether or not we were successful and whether or not we are expecting. But that is all for now. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.